this is a good example of what not to do already. Okay. I need to put some little hint of background in there just so it's not stark white. And it might be that if you just left it totally white, it would be fine. But I thought I would put a little bit of a just sort of blue-gray in there. So I'm going to wash it over most of the whole thing. And I really don't want this color down there because it'll bleed into it. So the idea is to put down that bit of background first and then I don't have water. Yeah, here. Okay. So the idea is to have that bit of background down first. And I just need kind of a quiet blue-gray. Oh, let's see. That's going to get contaminated with that green. I got a blob of green there. That's probably enough color for the whole thing. And then if I just put a touch of burnt umber into that, maybe another touch. Let's just see what that gets me. Oh, okay. That's very gray. Okay. Actually, that gray suits me. You might want yours. Some people are going to want theirs a little bluer. I actually would be happy with it like that. I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. So that's it. I've really thinned it way down. And you know what? In fact, I might even be happier with it if it's just a little bit streaky, because that's all the action that would be in it, and maybe just a little bit of streakiness would actually be good. And I'm thinking horizontal streakiness. Oh, let's see. That's the limb. Well, so if you don't have all this color down like I did beforehand, that would be a good thing, because that's on so heavily it's gonna bleed. Well, maybe that'll make it all in the same world. Who knows? Maybe I'll decide that that's not so bad. So let's get a little more color over here. And of course, this is going to dry really, really light. And that's what I'm wanting. So this is limbs over here. I'd rather have too much down than skip a spot. Okay. So now I'm stuck with getting all this done. So sorry. I've got it all got you waiting. So, whoops, this is... Oh, no, that is a limb. So I'm losing my place here. Okay. So, oops, up here. Let's see, right there. Okay. Okay, the point is that I just need that little bit of sky in there, something, I thought. And if you're like me and you're getting lost between where the limbs are and where the space is, well, just fill in the whole thing, because you don't have all this darn color sitting here. And what I did was I put color in what I thought was going to be the darkest areas. But now that I'm looking at this, there's this really interesting edge there that I could collage it on, but I might also just decide to paint that, So there's this. And then you're going to go back and you're going to, when that's dry enough, put in some of these strong darks. You could use a black or just a really strong dark mixture. And what I was thinking about primarily was these extra dark limbs here and a base for the nest, because we'll build lighter probably on top of it. It's probably our best our best direction with that. And so, when this is dry enough, you're going to put that in. But then you have other things you can be working on in the meantime. I'm going to hand that to you, and then you're going to hand me the other thing. Yeah, all of that's stuck together. I know it's strange. It's very strange. So one of the things that I thought we could do, I want some collage on my birds, but all of this like beak and face and stuff, that might be pretty hard to collage. On the other hand, you may find some places you could collage onto. But my suggestion is that we trace off the birds and paint them separately, and then build bits of collage onto the painting. And so what I've done here is just also to make the obvious, I'm going to do it anyway, is that I have taped a piece of paper on the back from here so that I could put my tracing paper under here and trace these. And then I thought I would just show, because it made me excited. There's just one leaf that it's actually one leaf that I traced off. I did do a little bit of painting to it, and who knows, I may put more collage on top of it. I might do more tweaking to it later, I don't know. But I just did it, and and I changed the shape of it because I decided this looked better. But I just love it already. Okay, so so we've got things that we can be transferring, because what I did was, again, I took this and traced it onto my a piece of my paper, and so all of that stuff here that doesn't necessarily belong on a leaf, but there it is, that just makes that leaf fun. If it was just a flat leaf, it wouldn't be near as good as these little things that are going on in there. And my mindset on this is that at some point, because we have done this, that some of our other paintings will get a little freer and more exciting in some of these internal areas as we paint, because we've had this experience. That's my thinking. Okay, so does anybody got questions on this? Okay. So I've just got some graduated different colors that are kind of blending into each other. I was trying to pay attention to leave the light areas light, and I sort of managed to sort of do it. So that's sort of my base that I can paint on top of and do more detail. But I really like what's going on there. So I'm taking my, for benefit of the video, I'm taking my ultramarine and burnt umber and the in-between mixture and my yellow ochre and my raw sienna here. And then I am just, okay, I'm going to paint this little guy right here. Oh, I need to see the picture. Okay, so he's got, he's got a really light area in under here. See, I'm using that number 6 brush, but I'm working really wet. And I'm not going to get overly concerned with staying in the lines right now. I'm just getting some basic bits of color down here that I can build on. So I'm working juicy enough that it's not drying too fast on me, but I am trying to build some of this before it gets dry, so that I've got a soft wet and wet feel to it. Oh, we can just go over the eye. So, because that's going to get really dark. So let's see. Oh, so there are streaks coming down in here, which I'm not going to get much of that in because it's still wet. I could wait, or I could just add a little bits in. Oh, I wanted it lighter under the eye. Well, let's just drop a little water in real quick and give it, oh, now it's lighter in the eye, see? We did that. So I want to change and get grayer part of the time so that the bird's just interesting, that's all. So, and here's the other thing. If you happen to want to paint over the lines, as long as you can find your edges when you cut it out, you might want to have some areas that, you might not want to stay totally in these lines. When you cut it out, you want to, well, I'm having trouble saying what I'm trying to say.
Are you doing the birds on a separate piece of paper?
I am.
And
I
cutting it and
am.
pasting
I
it
am.
on the
And
other
right, yes. Oh,
Okay.
I did not explain that.
No,
Yes.
I didn't get that
Oh,
either.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So,
was a unanimous vote.
I wasn't gonna do it that way.
so, but the thing is,
What would be
I didn't
wrong
want
with
the
painting
birds
it
to
like
lay
that?
in behind everything to be flat on the paper. You could paint this on there. You could do that.
I mean, since Mike's already started it, why not?
So that's why I didn't have you trace the detail when you did your when you did your base, because see that I am getting, okay, here's the wings on him over here. And I don't like the way that looks right. I think there's something going on right there. So I'm going to dampen these edges a little bit. And
So we could even paint the heads,
yeah,
put other paper on the body.
yeah. So I'm
Whatever.
planning to do stuff to the body. That I did some paper last week. I don't know if y'all remember it. So I plan to use that. So I might paint on in to the chest a little bit, so that I just don't have, trying to butt things up exactly right. So here I've got, let's just take a little bit more raw sienna here and pull it on down just to have that. So you can see that I did not get anything on the beak there. Let's just put a little something here. So that's my underpainting, just as if, I'm painting it regular. And, so my plan is to go back now and put detail on top of this. But I've got some pieces that I did that I'm planning to put on the chest, and then we may very well, or you may very well find little bits of stuff that you want to add onto the wings and stuff you want to do to this. It's just
You mean
that
like glue something onto it? Oh, okay.
yeah, you may want to paint these, sort of finish them out, but you may also want to build onto them some. But these areas in here would be, it's a little bit touchy, but still, I don't know what's going to happen. It may be that y'all are going to come up with wonderful stuff, and it's going to work there. I'm planning to come in with a pair of tweezers next week,
I brought my tweezers.
Yeah.
You want to
Okay.
borrow them today. So.
Okay, well, we're not going, so, because one thing about this is we're working from large to small. And so we probably don't need tweezers yet, but but we might, or clumsy people like me might. Me and Mike might. Okay, so has anybody got questions?
I do.
Now,
Go
Okay,
ahead.
go.
are we gonna tear that out or cut it out?
Mostly cut it out, but these are feathers. And if you happen to have some torn edges, so the thing is, I might have to cut this part way out, and then I might come in and tear
Make
some
it
of
a
my
little bit
some of
ragged,
my
yeah.
feathered edges, and other places I might cut out with the scissors. I totally use scissors on this.
Okay.
And so, you can do bits of both. And some things are just too hard to do, tearing, But, some torn bits along some of this would be really, really maybe feathery looking if you can do it. So we're going to find out together how that works.
If we do the birds on a separate paper,
Uh-huh.
you use the same weight paper?
Oh, no, I'm using the 140 pound.
140.
Everything that pastes on, you're best off with 140 pound. The main reason for the 300 pound is just to have a more stable surface. It's not absolutely necessary, but I'll get into a little bit more about that when we start gluing. I've got some things to explain. But
Are you, as you glue things on, are you gonna try to make it a little bit three-dimensional by, like, for instance, the chest maybe sticking out just a little bit more, or you're not gonna mess with that, right?
I'm not really that concerned with
Okay.
making it three-dimensional, but some of you may.
But you could.
Yeah,
We're still
go on.
on. You could put a color down and then put little colors on top, little pieces on top of it, couldn't we?
Build it
You
up.
sure
Like
could.
that.
You could go ahead and build some orange or something beige. You know, you could build some color in there if you wanted to. Yeah. So I've got some pieces that I happen to like, and so I was going to use them. But again, you know, everybody's going to have different situations.
Oh, that's for sure.
So I don't know if you can make sense. I've got this pile of stuff over here. But I was starting on, did I turn that on? Yeah. I was starting on these limbs. So you can see I've glued a couple of pieces together here, a piece there. I've got that white edge because I know I'm going to overlap it with this piece. All right. But also I have another edge here where I painted, not too successfully, painted over the torn edge. And I may use that. In fact, I might just leave that like that anyway. So I'm kind of working with where would I come along and, oh, let's see, wait a minute. I must have planned, or maybe I didn't plan. Come along here. So I'm not necessarily getting the exact edges that I had, but I can build these pieces in together. One of the things I want to think about is this area right here. Let's see. When you tear downward, you don't get a white edge. If you pull up, you get a white edge, which sometimes you can use those white edges. So don't think that they're all together bad. But what I have here is, I have this limb over here that is part of something that's happening on this side. And so, again, I'm matching right there. And then, you know, you can paste things along in any way you want. Maybe I don't want that there. Maybe I'll go ahead and do this here. And then do something else. And see, I've got that edge showing there. And I might keep that edge, you know. I might intentionally leave some other edges, or I might paint a new edge along there. I might decide to tint one of these pieces. The other thing that I want you to think about is that save some of your pieces that match pieces over here to go over here. So you have some consistency in the limbs, even though we have all this inconsistency. Down here, I know that I am pasting over where part of the bird, the nest is. So later I'll just come paint some of that nest back in later. So, you know, these are all things that you have to kind of think about. You kind of need, I found that as I was working, I needed to have this in front of me
Yeah.
to find my place.
the
Also,
picture.
I decided that I tried to trace some of this off, and some of this is just so dark I can't get it traced off. But what I thought was to get a general outline, if I came in with a Sharpie, because I can see the Sharpie, you know, a fine Sharpie, something black. So I could come in and draw approximately where that goes and then trim the Sharpie part off and have my shape. The other thing to think about is that particularly, it's probably true with any glue, but particularly this school glue is like wet, you know, and so you're getting your paper wet. As you're gluing, you want to be sure that wherever you're gluing, like this piece of paper is bowed up a little bit. See, it's got, okay. Oh, that's because it's like that. Okay. So you want to be sure that you're kind of holding it down flat and making sure that it's laying flat, and particularly the first layer. That's going to stabilize this in a flat position because the two layers together, you can have something, permanently buckled if you're not careful. So actually this stabilizes it to have some of this base layer really flat. Then the subsequent layers, you don't have to worry about them as much. There was one other thing, and it just escaped me. So then, as I'm tearing paper, I have lots of this. And if I was a little bird, I would use that to make a nest out of. So, of course, what I'm going to do is leave them to soak in some of my paint. And hopefully later, they might be useful. Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So, because that would be nice on that bird nest is my point. If a little bird would use them, so would I. I think that's basically what I need to say. I know that some of you are starting to pace down, and I especially want you to think about making sure that it's laying flat. Oh, one of the things that I will do with this, now I have sheetrock at home, but one of the things I will do with this when I get it home, particularly because I want it to be flat for next week, is I will wet the back of this down and put it to press so that it's laying really flat because I've gotten it wet and it's buckled a little bit. Also, it's really nice when you have, especially if the glue's still moist, if you have something at home to lay this under and press it in between, just because you'll get a little bit better effect.
Remember some time ago, we used a really thick, pasty mother's something or other glue that you mix with water and you can leave it thick.
Oh, yeah, that yes paste. And I had a bunch of it. Oh, I've got it saved under here. I thought I threw it out. I have some yes paste. The difference is that when we use the school glue,
Yeah.
which, by the way, I have that. Y'all can use it. And it might also be good for, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, what I like about the school glue is that if I decide that I want to pull it up, or if I want to paint and there's some school glue stuck out here, it won't act as a resist. And so, I know that I'm going to want to paint on top of this some. And so I'd rather not have a glue that acts as a resist. And this won't. So that's my main purpose in that. But yes, I have plenty of yes paste under there.
At what point do you put the birds on? The last?
Oh no, not last. Probably I want to get them down here before. We're going to have some pieces of bird nest that you want to have sticking up over here. So I'm going to want that up over the birds on there before I finish the nest. But that's about, and the leaves, same thing. The leaves, some of the leaves and the little berry things will go on top.